Hi, I'm Tom Kursky. I'm currently the fire instructor for the Howell Schools Fire Academy. Prior to this, I worked for Livonia Fire and Rescue for 26 and a half years.
All right, Lieutenant Kursky, we are going to ask you a series of questions about budget cuts related to fire service.
Budget cuts affect us in many different ways. Number one, a big chunk of our budget goes towards personnel. So anytime you take away budget cuts, if you talk about a full-time fire department, you've got about 90% of your budget goes towards your personnel. In a number of different ways. The first way is the number of people who respond on a fire truck. If we can't have 4 people on a fire truck, then 3 or 2. We ended up, when I left, we had 2 people on a fire truck when I started.
Budget cuts to public services started in 2007 and has continued to impact workers today. Since the start of public services, there has been an up and down in budget cuts. When money, we all know, is more important now than it ever has been, especially when it comes to response times. An effective response force, as defined by the National Fire Protection Agency, is the minimum number of firefighters and equipment that must reach a specific emergency incident location within a maximum prescribed travel time. The average response time from the station should be at least 6 minutes, not counting the time that paid on-call personnel would take to respond from their house to the station for the emergency response. For EMS, the national average response time is about 8 minutes. Fewer personnel in EMS units responding increases EMS response time, which directly impacts survivability of individuals experiencing medical emergencies.
I'm good. Okay. All right, Lieutenant, how did you cope with these budget cuts in Livonia?
Well, when I was younger, you just didn't do much. You just kind of had to deal with them, and you just worked harder and tried to work faster. But in reality, that was just something that you said. You really can't work harder and faster than you do when a fire comes in. You do all that you can. By the time I left, we had fully lost that third person off our engines. We were down to 2. And my last 3 years there was training coordinator. And that's all you can do is train people up for this is what you've got, this is what you can do with 2 people on a truck.
Okay. What are some things that affected you personally due to budget cuts in Livonia or in your fire service career?
When I was in the training division, we wanted to pay for higher education for our firefighters. So if they took upper level classes leading towards bachelor's and master's degree, we wanted to help to pay for those to help offset the costs that their family would associate with the fire service. Unfortunately, we had to cut back on that due to budget cuts, and we were not able to fully reimburse everyone to go to the classes for their bachelor's and master's degrees.
Okay. Is there anything that could have been done, you think, to avoid these budget cuts or to lessen the impact on personnel from these budget cuts?
Well, there's always some things that you say you could do if they had given us more money in it. But again, we're talking about a certain pie that is what your city's budget is. And if we take a bigger slice of the pie, someone else is going to get a smaller slice of the pie. So if we say we need more personnel here, then we're going to have less police officers on the street, or the library is going to be closed 1 day a week, or something else is going to get suffered somewhere. So I'd like to think that we could plan ahead for these types of things and work them into budget years. But again, that would be an increase on taxes, so people don't like to pay that either. So I think we're in a bad situation in that there's really no great answer for that.
Okay. Are there any stories that you have that are sticking in your head from any emergency that you had responded to that were specifically affected by budget?
Budget issues and the response. There's a few times that we have gone out with some trucks that needed some work on them. Couldn't afford it just yet. We'd have to wait till the next budget year or something like that. So it's a few times that we had a couple things missing on the trucks, broken on the trucks, but we responded anyway. We're in that service category of we do what we need to do to make people's problems get better. When they call 911, they want to fix their problem. And if we can't give them the best fix, we try to give them the next best fix. And we're still going to respond. We're still going to do our job. It might not just be quite the way we'd like to do it. It might be a little bit less due to budget cuts, but we're going to do it anyways.
All right. Thank you. Appreciate your time.